Even if most products get forgotten by the media after the review period is done, there are a few that stand out. Gadgets that people still ask about months later, some that we even decide to hold on to as daily drivers, and that we get to see age over time. The Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus is one of them. We're just a few days away from the next Unpacked, and if your mind is set on grabbing a good deal on our favorite all-rounder of 2018, you've come to the right place. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is our Galaxy S9 Plus After the Buzz. For the past 4 generations, we've considered Samsung's latest Galaxy S as the best all-rounder. Not the jack of all trades and master of none, this is actually a phone that can do a ton of things and get most of these right. Though, when it comes to aging, it did get a few things right and others not so much. This was my primary smartphone for about 2 months after its release, and I drifted back a few times for comparison purposes. During that time, it suffered 2 hard falls onto concrete. One from waist height, which left a flat dent on the top right corner, and then the other from a tall table, which I thought would completely obliterate the glass. As it turns out, it did end up with 2 horrible dents on opposite corners, but that was it. The glass on both sides is nearly scratch-free, and if it wasn't for the fading oleophobic coating, which has left me with smudge central, this phone has proven to be a champ at taking a beating. Trust me, I learned my lesson and started using this awesome leather case by Muzhou. I highly recommend their minimalistic approach to Galaxy cases, and the fact that even after a third major drop with the case, the leather barely shows any signs of wear. Size-wise, this phone was a breath of fresh air after my time with the Galaxy Note 8. The curvier body makes it less of a pain to carry in jeans and more comfortable to hold in your hand. Little things like the movement of the fingerprint scanner to a more ergonomic area went really far for me, because this IR scanning face to unlock is simply hit or miss most of the time. It was also a refreshing solution to the notch frenzy of 2018. The 6.2-inch Super AMOLED Infinity display is still our favorite, and second only to the larger Galaxy Note 9. From its amazing color reproduction and contrast to its great viewing angles and that infinity pool effect seen from the side to its overall symmetry, this screen is an industry standard in my opinion. Its stereo speakers, even a year later, sound a lot better than most of its competitors. It's one of the proud few that's kept the headphone jack, and this phone even has my favorite always-on display as well, with more useful information than most. Its internals have also aged well. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 spent the year powering all of our favorite phones, and it was well matched with 6GB of RAM, 64GB of expandable storage, and a decent-sized 3500 mAh battery. This phone is also one of the few that supports faster wireless charging, fast charging through USB-C, and the IP68 water and dust resistance meant peace of mind in all conditions that I used it. Sadly, as I mentioned at the beginning, not everything about this phone aged perfectly. Fun fact, I've spent weeks delaying this video because I was waiting to showcase my thoughts on One UI over Android Pie, but yeah, no. This hasn't happened, and this is seriously one of the most frustrating things about Samsung phones. They are notorious for late updates, or for flat-out illogical approaches to fragmenting updates as well. And probably one of the major reasons why I was looking forward to this update is because I have noticed slowdowns here and there in how the device performs, which is quite odd considering that the Galaxy Note 9 has the exact same specs and UI and doesn't bog down at all. It's not to say that performance is terrible, you'll rarely notice these stutters, it's just not expected from a phone of this caliber, and is stuff which One UI was supposed to fix, if only I got the update. And then there's the case of battery life, where even if you don't touch this phone for hours, the battery will take a hit regardless, stuff which again doesn't happen to the Galaxy Note 9. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to bash Samsung for everything. There are things that I do praise from its software, like the Edge menus. I do rely on them constantly for shortcuts and app pairs, which I find to be convenient. Now, the one thing that did age really well on this phone is the camera. I praised the camera during my review given its interesting approach through variable aperture, and I feel certain software updates have made it even better. One major change that I've noticed that started with the Galaxy Note 9 was this new subtle approach to photography where photos are no longer oversaturated. Colors are on point with dynamic range being just epic. Even in low light, this camera now does a far better job than it did when it launched. I highly recommend that you watch my comparison to the OnePlus 6T where you'll notice the differences. Though again, it's not perfect, I sadly feel that Samsung still needs to work on its shutter speed, as moving subjects in low light are still hit or miss. And then something else that I will praise is portrait photography, not because Samsung gets it best, but because if you don't like the results, you can always just go back to the standard photo. And then video recording on this phone has also seen an interesting boost, now with colors not being as muted as before, and with some really good stabilization and improved dynamic range. Selfie video still suffers from a bad crop, but stabilization is great, and this is one of only a few phones that supports 2K video recording from the selfie camera. To conclude, let's just say that after a full year, there are still reasons to consider buying the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, and also a good deal of warning signs if you go for it. I honestly did not expect this hardware to age so well. That second drop this phone withstood should have broken it, and it still looks nearly brand new, at least from a distance. Sadly, I wish I could say the same about software. Seriously, if a year later this phone has trouble getting major Android updates, I honestly doubt it'll get any better in the next year or so. Now the biggest question, would I still buy this phone if this were my money? I would if I found a good deal on places like Swappa. I feel that it's not worth it to buy it new right now, and I doubt that carrier deals would beat what you'll find for a slightly used phone on Swappa. And if you're still holding on to a Galaxy S9 Plus and are considering upgrading, this is the best time to list it on Swappa. Resale value is proven to be highest before the next announcement, and we're just a few days away. Overall, the Galaxy S9 Plus is definitely a great phone. It wasn't the perfect device, but Samsung can fix this. It just needs to work on having its software age as well as its hardware. What about you? Let us know about your experiences with the Galaxy S9 Plus in the comments down below. And while you're at it, make sure you follow us on social media and subscribe to both our channels, English and Spanish, for more videos like this one. You can follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.